Straight up. Other than that, it's really good. What's your name? Lee. Wally is over there with that white hat. He walked that way as you walked this way.
One thing I really notice with these new Softails is they just look small. I mean, I guess once I'm on it, it doesn't feel small, but they just look smaller than the Dynas. So this is a Fat Bob 114. My arms are really reaching for these handlebars for some weird reason. So I just rode the Fat Boy, so now it'll be interesting to see how different this is. So the FXDR came out last year, and Harley was marketing this as their bike designed for performance. And a lot of people were like, wait a minute, that's what the Fat Bob 114 is. I rode the FXDR last year and it was really not a comfortable ride. So what I'm hoping to do is take this ride on the Fat Bob 114 and then jump on the FXDR for comparison. This Fat Bob 114 is a fast bike. Well, it definitely turns a lot easier than the Fat Boy I just took out. No doubt about that. And it just feels like, man, it feels fast. The Fat Boy was a 114 also. I'm not sure why this one feels like it has so much more get-up. I'm not going to get to really push it on this demo ride, but I can just tell immediately a difference. Yeah, this turns super easy. And man, does this thing just want to go. The seat is a little better than on the Fat Boy. This Fat Bob has a bit of a lumbar piece between the rider and the passenger part of it. And it just gives your back a little something to lean against. You can't slide around as much as on the Fat Boy. I definitely like the seat a little better. I'm sure after an hour, this seat, you'll feel it in your rump, but just initial impressions are it definitely feels better. Yeah, this is a kind of bike that you can just tear up the twisties with. It has no problem at all leaning and turning. No problem at all. But like all these bikes, you know, you have pros and cons. You can really fly on something like this. You can really tear it up in the turns. But then on a long ride, it may not be as comfortable. And the same thing for a passenger. So it's like, what do you want? You know, do you want longer range comfort? Do you just want to go crazy fast? The look of the bike, I remember when it first came out, there were a lot of people criticizing it. The exhaust is pretty radically different looking than what you typically find on a Harley. And but it seems to have grown on people, and this is a pretty popular bike from what I understand. Oh yeah, baby, she's like, bring it. Not much to see. Small speedo. The speed is actually digital in the center there, and the tack is the analog. And there's also a digital tack, so you have both an analog and a digital tack for some weird reason. Actually, scratch that, because those two aren't syncing. Yeah, I'm looking at the actual speedometer, odometer. So you have an analog tack, digital speedometer, and digital odometer. Okay, that makes sense. As you can see, there's some adjustment here on the handlebars. I think if they could come up a little bit, rotate a little bit more, that'd be a little comfort. You're kind of leaning forward on it, which for this type of bike makes sense. You are leaned forward a little more. The brake foot pedal, you have to like really tilt your heel up to press down on it. It's like it's lower than typically, at least on most of the bikes I've ridden. Not sure if there's any adjustment down there. We've passed that opossum 3 times already today. I know there's a lot of love for the Dyna, but dang, the Softail frames are just so much better. I don't care what anybody says. All I can say is I hope when I'm ready to sell my Dyna, there's still a lot of love for the Dyna and I get a good buck for it, because one of these Softails is definitely an upgrade. I think my personal favorite would be the Softail Deluxe, but the Fat Bob 114 is not quite my style. It's more sport. I'm more for kind of a balance between that and highway riding and things. A little more comfort needed. But it's not an uncomfortable bike. It's just not designed for the long haul. OMG, yeah, this puppy has some serious push. Yeah, you definitely want to take one of these out solo and put it through its paces if you're thinking about getting one, because you can't do justice to it on a demo ride like this, but you get enough of a feel for it, and you can definitely tell the difference between the different model bikes and kind of hone in on what you're looking for. don't buy a bike based on the appearance or style first. I mean, a lot of times people do that. They see a bike and they fall in love with how it looks, and then later on they realize it really wasn't the right choice. That can be a little expensive lesson to learn. So it's got like a wrinkled black finish on the front fork. It's really cool looking. I did a walk around video in the beginning, and you can see like the style and the design on the front fender and the exhaust, and you know, they really did kind of stepped out of the box. Harley did when they did the styling on this bike. You know, on the one hand, people complain that they don't innovate or it's the same thing over and over, and then they make a bike like this and people complain that it doesn't look like a Harley. Whatever. There's definitely a segment of people that this bike really appeals to, and I can see why. I mean, this thing really does move when you twist the throttle. It's getting near lunchtime. My lunchtime clock is ringing. Suspension feels good on this. You know, it has that little adjuster for the rear suspension that you can just twist. It's on 3, and I believe that's just in the middle. But it feels great. No issues with the posterior on this ride. I really love that you can just twist and adjust that suspension on the fly. So that is the Fat Bob 114. We're starting to get some people here today. Looks like a whole club just showed up.